Hello everyone and welcome to Beginner Watercolor. In this video I'm going to explain the kit that I supply when I'm teaching beginner watercolor, as well as when you're out buying on your own, what to look for, where to go, and my recommendations on the best product for a beginner. So enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful watercolor journey. Learning watercolor is a lot of fun, some frustration, but keep in mind you're in the learning stage, and just soak it all up and enjoy the process. So step number one, just review what is in the watercolor kit. The first thing we have is a couple of water bottles. These are just plastic ones. You could use old peanut butter jars, mason jars, whatever you want. I kind of like these because they have a lid and I can put things in them when I carry them. I also have a spray bottle. This is a mini spray bottle, very small, and it has a very fine mist, which I'll explain later the importance of that. We have a watercolor brushes from Royal Langnickel. You can get these at Michael's. The number on it is, I have to look closer here, it is set 832. And what it includes in that is a mop brush that has a very fine point. Wet the brush, you can see it goes to a nice fine point there. And that is great for painting. One of the challenges a beginner has is not having enough paint, and this brush forces you to actually use enough paint because you got to fill the brush with paint. It works quite well. And then there's a flat brush, there's a number 6 brush, there is another kind of mop, but I think this is just useful to stipple. You know, it's very, very soft too. You could use it if you need to lightly blend something. And then you have a light scrubber brush, and I'll explain those more in detail. The color palette includes what I called a lemon yellow and orange yellow. So those two are Hansa yellow. This one is a medium, but Hansa yellow light, a lemon yellow. Those are all good. It's kind of leans to the cool side. And then the other yellow we have is a gamboge. So there's a lot of choices. These two are really good for mixing. The reds, we have a Pyro Red, which I called red, and then a Quin Rose, which we called rose. And then we have an ultramarine blue, which I would say, you know, that's kind of essential to have ultramarine blue. And then on the green blue, you could probably go to a cobalt blue or a phthalo blue. I wouldn't go to a cerulean blue, but either one of those are good. This is kind of a greenish blue. Phthalo's a beautiful color. It's got tons of pigment in it, but sometimes it's overwhelming to mix with other colors. And then I put in a lunar black or neutral tint or Payne's gray. Any one of those are fine. You don't really need a black, but for beginners it's good in order to get darks to mix it with some black, and that helps a lot. So a small round palette. I also use, you can get these at the dollar store. I use another plate for mixing. You can even use 2 or 3 plates for mixing. If you're mixing a lot of color, then, you know, a standard dinner plate would even do the job for you. I also have paper that is included in it, but I'm going to talk about the paper in a little bit more detail later on. Right, so a couple of other items that were in the kit, a masking fluid, and this is actually just a bit of PBO drying gum, and a value scale, as well as a corrugated board, so plastic board. You can get this on Amazon or you can get it at Michael's. And then the other thing was we had a watercolor clock sheet where everyone filled out based on the consistency of their paint and the wetness of the paper. It just helps you understand how watercolor reacts. So that was the other item that was in the other items that were in the kit. Okay, now you're out on your own and you're looking at what can you buy for watercolor supplies. There's tons out there that say watercolor supplies, but what I'm going to give you is the recommendations. We'll start with paint. This Holbein watercolor set is available on Amazon for $90 today. Today's April 2026. But this is a good starter set. It has all the colors you need and then some. For $90, it's only 5 mils, so they're small tubes, not the big tubes. But it's a great starter set for just $90. The other option is Daniel Smith. It is probably higher quality pigment than Holbein. $55 for the essential set, which was basically what I put into the beginner set. All of the colors you're familiar with are here. The ultramarine blue, the phthalo blue, the quin rose, the pyro scarlet, the Hansa yellow, and the gamboge, all there for $55. Again on Amazon. On Amazon, there is also Winsor Newton, which is equivalent quality to Daniel Smith. There is a 12 set again for $104. The one to look for is the one that says Japan import. And Winsor Newton's, I believe, made in the UK. So I don't know why there would be a Japan import, but I have ordered this and it's actually quite a good set of paint. There's a few other brands. There's Core, there's Schminky, there's a lot of different paint brands, but those are the ones that I would recommend. The next one is brushes. So the one that is in the kit, I sourced at Michael's. It's called the Zen Series 83 Watercolor Round. They have a few different sets, so just be careful that you're getting the one that you want. There is a version of this that has a bigger round brush in it. Still a pretty good one, but I like this one because it has the big brush in it, and I like to see beginners use the big brush. Only $12.99 at Michael's currently, and with 30% off, that's a killer deal. The next one I would recommend is Femu. You would order this directly from their website. This is a beautiful brush set. This one is a natural hair sable. This is a beautiful mop brush. This is a Chinese brush, a hard scrubber, and then there's one, well, you can't see it because it says 37% off. The brush that you're not seeing looks like this, and basically what it does is it allows you to do fine lines, but it holds a lot of paint in the barrel of the brush, so you don't run out of paint by the time you finish your line. And you can use it for trees. There's all kinds of uses for it. So it's a nice brush and a great kit that we have here from Femu. So that was brushes. The other area is just that corrugated board. You can get one at Michael's for $6.99. You can cut it up into 4 pieces or even smaller if you like. And that's what you're gonna paste your painting to. If you're ready for a bigger palette, so let's say you buy one of those sets of 12, I would recommend this 18 well palette. Don't try to fill it all up. You get used to the paints that you have, and you know that's the better strategy than using up, you know, buying all these paints and not knowing how they mix together, etc. That's why I kind of start with the one that is the Daniel Smith Essentials colors. And now we'll move in on to paper. I'll start with the cheapest paper. This paper, I'm not sure if it's 100% cotton. They do say that it has cotton in it, but it's 5 by 7 inches, and you get, how many sheets? I believe you get 120 sheets. So it's great for practicing things. It's small, it doesn't have too much texture on it, but 120 sheets is a lot of watercolor painting, a lot of watercolor paper. And with this, you can not worry about practicing. For $25, you can do 120 paintings. It's great for things like cards, right size for that sort of thing. So I would highly recommend you get that, even if you get good paper. You can always practice things on it. It's from Swan Arrow, and that's the next cheapest is Bao. They have, these are available with different fronts on them, but make sure you go for green because that's cold press. And they come in, I think this came with 20 sheets or something like that. It's definitely 100% cotton. What I like best about Bao is it really, the color is always vibrant on it. It's nice and thick and doesn't curl. So it's a great paper. And it does have quite a bit rougher grain compared to other brands. So that's something you have to get used to. Another one that is 100% cotton is this Femu. It doesn't take a lot of abuse, so layering, masking, that sort of thing. But it's still pretty good for 22 sheets for $36. 100% cotton. So that's another one I would recommend. And then there is the Fabriano, beautiful paper, extra white. Again, you can get that on Amazon. So we talked about Fabriano. At Desir's, you can get a pad for $64. On Amazon, $69, and I think that's about 11 by 15. Or $9 a sheet at Desir's. Bao Master's Choice is their highest grade paper. The only place I order it is off of Arte Miranda. It's hard to find it in Canada, but $3.25 a sheet, and then they discount from there based on how many sheets you order. But a really good price at Arte Miranda. They're a Spanish company, and I'll put a link in the link in there as well for them. And then Arches, the best deal I would say right now is the pad, which is 9 by 12 for $37.99 at Michael's. But if you order online, you get 30% off. So that's not a bad price for 12 sheets, I guess it is there. And then my favorite paper is Saunders Waterford. This is a really big block, 16 by 12, 16 by 12, something like that. Saunders is more expensive. Again, I would only order it off Arte Miranda because it's difficult. Although I did see it in Michael's the other day. It's difficult to find it in Canada. I'll just give you the price. At Arte Miranda, it's 56 by 76 centimeters. So they're large sheets, and again, you can cut them into 6 or 8, depending on how you cut your sheets. So that is everything about buying materials. I think we've covered almost everything. If you want a spritz bottle, then something like this is good because you can adjust it. You know, you can buy one of these at the dollar store, or find one that you have in your makeup area that has a really fine misty spray. So this one, you can see the mist coming out of that. This is a little tiny one that I bought off Amazon, but these smaller ones tend to have the mist in them. And then the last option is is one of these hairspray bottles. So again, it has a pretty good mist. And you can hold these down for a long time to really get a lot of water on your painting, but you have to be careful because you just want to use the mist and have a nice spray there. So I usually have 2 or 3 of these, one of these, and then one of the fine mists. But you don't need that all. Start off with the fine mist. It's better for beginners.